You know, I took a bit of a break, and this was the game that I decided to cover on my return. I must really hate myself. What is going on, guys, and welcome to Jack Does Gaming, the channel where we critique and review all your favourite games, nostalgic and present games as well. Some good, some bad, some ugly, and I think today's game falls into that ugly category. So before I get on with the video, I just wanted to apologise for lack of content over the past couple of weeks. There's been a lot going on in my life, mental health, getting back to work, just sort of getting back in the swing of things, getting back into rhythm, chasing ADHD diagnosis, still waiting for that, but just kind of get on with it, really. We had a target of 80 when the Marvel Avengers video dropped, and we absolutely smashed it. We are now at 91 subscribers, and the next target is 100. Now, when we get to 100, I have a special game lined up from my childhood. Now, anyone who knows me knows what this game's going to be, so if you have any ideas of what it could be, then sound off below in the comments and let me know. And if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe, because it helps massively. And also leave a like. I always hate saying that in videos, but it does help. This game, from an outsider looking in, I don't have a stake in the Dragon Age horse race. I've never played any of the games. I know a lot of people who are massive fans of the franchise who even looked at this game and thought, I'm not touching that. I do not want to play that. It is not Dragon Age. It got added to the PlayStation catalogue about a month ago. I think it was last month or it was the month before's. And I thought, do you know what? I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna make my own opinion on this game. What an experience this was. But that's why we make these videos, because we want to form our own opinion while taking into account everything that other people have said. But we make our own opinion, our own judgments on it. Now, I do want to throw a disclaimer out there. I do talk a lot about certain topics that have surrounded this game. So if it's not for you, I would click off now, because it's not so much that I'm brutally honest, but it's definitely what I took away from it. So if you don't want to hear that, that's completely fine. Click away now. But for those of you that are still here, let's crack on with the miserable, meddling, confusing world of Dragon Age the Veilguard. When Dragon Age the Veilguard was released at the back end of 2024, it was met with tremendous upset from hardcore Dragon Age fans, claiming it was not anything like the previous games. One of my friends who religiously follows the series didn't even get it on day one. If you've spent any time on the internet since this game's release, you'll understand why it's so controversial and so divisive. Commercially panned but critically loved. That doesn't make any sense at all to me. You look at the Metacritic stores and you look at journalist reviews and something just isn't adding up. But that's why I checked it out, because who knows, maybe I'll enjoy it a lot more than other people. I didn't enjoy it at all. This is coming from someone who's never experienced the other games in the franchise, so I don't have that nostalgia where it's concerned. After playing this game for the video, I was at work and somebody was buying it, and they asked, "Have you played this? What did you think?" To which I responded, "Oh, you don't want to know what I think." He walked away with it and returned it the next day. After careful planning of how I wanted my journey with Veilguard to go, I thought about what I could bring to this world with my character that I created. Do I create a hardened dwarf with a taste for war? Do I create a crafty rogue who prefers rapid attacks over slow methodical weaponry? Or do I create a mystical mage with phenomenal cosmic powers? Honestly, no, I did none of those things. Everyone meet Jeffy, a dwarf with stunted growth who represents the Lord of Fortune. He also really likes Cherryade, hence the red shade around the lower half of his face. There was a lot more I wanted to do with Jeffy, but for 2025 reasons I'd have been sent to the moon. Or Manchester, I don't know. The game starts with Jeffy and Varric attempting to stop Solus from performing and completing a ritual that will destroy the Veil and allow two gods called Elganon and Gillenane, did I say that right? Gillenane, to come through into the world and destroy it. Or shape it in their own image. I don't know, I wasn't really paying attention. My brain just immediately said Gillenane Maxwell. After encountering some more characters in the form of Nev Gallus, a mage, and Lace Harding, a dwarf, these are the first companions you will encounter on your journey. I really wanted to get far enough into the game to meet Tash, arguably the best character in anything ever. Ultimately, I didn't get to meet Tash and take part in what can only be described as some of the worst script work I have ever witnessed. What did I like about this game? Yeah, it looks pretty. Varric's cool. The scenery looks amazing. That's it. Everything else is just paper-thin quality to me. Again, coming from someone who has no experience with this series, I'm talking about Veilguard and not the other entries here. The combat for me felt very clunky, the interface is infuriatingly cluttered, and it's just so repetitive. The dialogue's awful, the subliminal but not subliminal messaging is forced and unwelcome. I don't know if it was just how early on in the game I was, or if it was just the weapons and abilities I was using, but the combat just wasn't fun at all. Yeah, they looked fancy and cool, especially when you kick someone in the face off the earth, but it just didn't do it for me. I liken the combat to Marvel Avengers in some areas, button mashing and the occasional ability to help in a fight. I rarely use companion abilities because the interface was too cluttered for my liking, and this also applies to the buttons you need to press in order to activate it. It just felt super complicated and unnecessary. Some of the boss fights, I'll admit, didn't feel like boss fights at all. Some of the names were a little too on the nose. Calivan's Pride? Pride Demon? Really? Maybe I'm just looking into it a bit more than I should be. But to me, that was just a little too coincidental. Also, where the fuck are the cinematic cutscenes for the story? It's far too easy to just do moving images. Again, Suicide Squad and Avengers comes to mind. Oh, and the dialogue. Oh my lord above. I would say the quality of the voice acting and writing is accurately reflected in the quality of the game itself. It's crazy how poorly written this game is. And of course, this is another game much like Suicide Squad where you shoot the purple glowy things, only this time they're red. Again! 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 Apart from Varric and Harding, I didn't care for any of the characters at all. Part of me is glad I didn't get to meet Tash. If I had given up on the game before then, this was definitely been the moment when I dipped. Disclaimer time! I know a lot of the dialogue options regarding certain customizations are not mandatory. I know they're optional, and I can respect that. What I can't respect, however, is how forced it comes across in other areas of the game. I would also like to point out that this game didn't trigger me. It did not make me want to boycott it or attack people for their beliefs. More power to them. In my Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League video, I did touch on this briefly because it's a super touchy subject. I am all for representation, and I'm all about for inclusivity, but when that becomes the primary focus over storytelling and world building, I will tune out. If it's organic and fleshed out throughout the course of the story, I'm all for it. Let things settle and give the audience time to digest what you are trying to do. If you are just sending a message the entire time, it will be lost in people, and they will mentally check out. This game was a huge wake-up call for the industry. People started talking with their wallets and stopped believing in the bad practices going on, not just at EA and BioWare, but all across the industry. This game did not meet the expectations that EA had wanted, and BioWare didn't really help themselves by announcing that they wouldn't be supporting the game with DLC post-launch. There was nothing to keep people coming back. The whistleblower situation regarding the work environment at BioWare was scary to see. If you were not agreeing with their mindset and their way of doing things, you were an outcast, and this led to so many developers jumping ship and working on other projects to avoid the disaster that was unfolding behind the scenes. BioWare sadly had to distribute layoffs throughout the company, and this is what happens when you prioritize political, ideological agendas rather than tell people a story and give them an authentic experience. People don't play games to be lectured, they play games to escape the real world. Or at least that's why I play games. I never wish for a game and its studio to fail. BioWare has given us amazing story games like Knights of the Old Republic, and from what I've heard, Mass Effect's pretty sweet too. All this game did was remind me of the state that this industry is currently in right now. I have very rarely touched multiplayer games this past year, with the exception of Dead by Daylight and Marvel Rivals. The game did open my eyes to reviews from journalists and definitely made me begin to question the validity and integrity of the journalists reviewing the game. You can spot a genuine review a mile off. You can also spot a paid agenda-pleasing review a mile off. I'm looking at you, IGN. I am a firm believer that EA has sent this game out to die. When they added it to PlayStation Plus a mere 3 to 4 months after release, it confirmed it for me. Also, I'd like to draw attention to this dialogue interaction with Tash.
So, I'm non-binary.
What does that mean?
It means I don't feel like a man or a woman.
If you are neither a man nor a woman, then what are you?
Non-binary. I just said. and I'm going to use they instead of she from now on.
If this is because I have criticized your dress or your manners...
It isn't!
You can't tell me that that was organic and fleshed out.
Who the fuck starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
Now I'd like to draw attention to this scene with Rook and Tarsh.
Do I seem distracted? Sexy growls? Sometimes little bits of fire and love bites?
That sounds really great to me.
Are you trying to have sex with me?
Oh, wow. In my daydreams, this is where you lean over me and slap the wall.
Quick, think about us having sex. So now we need to figure out if it's Cashlock or Tomlock.
And those are...
Cashlock's just flirting. You look and make jokes and maybe think about him for fun. Tomlock is serious. Like you want to grab that and taste its neck right by the collarbone.
Enlighten me. If the roles were reversed and Rook did that and not Tarsh, would it still be viewed the same way?
Oh, there we go.
Any reason you can't just apologize?
Sometimes people say, oops, sorry, and hope that fixes it. But they just want to get the whole thing over with. Trust me, I know. But pulling a bath, you sweat a little. Makes you think about it a little more. Shows the other person you mean it.
What if they mean it when they say they're sorry, though?
And that's the other reason. Some people mess up and get all dramatic. They make it about them.
But it's wild how that works. I really wanted to give Veilguard the benefit of the doubt, and I really wanted to say I could get through it and prove some people wrong. I just couldn't do it. Fellow scumbag John really enjoyed his time with Veilguard, so maybe I'm being a little bit hard on it, but then an interesting question from Lee came to mind. Would we have enjoyed it the same amount if we'd have paid for it? I can't speak for John, but for myself, absolutely not. This could very well be the first game I've covered on this channel that I would throw on the dog shit pile. But don't worry though, it won't be on its own for very long with an upcoming review planned for release in a few weeks. Did you check out Dragon Age Veilguard? If so, was there anything you liked about it, and was there anything that you hated about it? Sound off in the comments below and let me know if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to keep up to date with all my content coming soon. Up next on the chopping block is Ubisoft's attempt at bringing the world of Assassin's Creed to the era of feudal Japan. Does it get the job done? Well, you're just going to have to wait and see. Thank you again for watching everyone, and I will see you all soon.